Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. It's a beautiful DC day. The sun's about to break through. I think we have a couple of hundred people that showed up today, including my colleagues from the House of Representatives and all of the organizations that provide beautiful service dogs to our veterans in need. It's always an honor to stand alongside those who are committed to our nation, of course. I want to start by recognizing the incredible veteran service organizations that have stepped up to support Service Dogs Assisting Veterans Act. Organizations like Canines for Warriors, American VetDogs, Wounded Warrior Project, Disabled American Veterans, the American Legion, and so many more have been instrumental in advocating for the life-changing initiatives. Your work makes a real difference, and I'm extremely grateful for your dedication to our veterans. Stand behind me and hold it up as high as we possibly can.
I will for you anyways.
I don't know if I'm capable of that.
The Service Dog Assisting Veterans Act is simple, but it's impactful and profound. This bipartisan bill establishes a grant program to help nonprofit organizations provide highly trained service dogs to veterans in need. These service dogs are more than companions. They are trained to assist veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injuries, mobility impairments, and other serious conditions. They provide independence, security, and a healing for those who have sacrificed so much for this country. With this bill, we're taking action to ensure that no veteran is left behind to struggle alone. We are committing $10 million per year over the next 5 years to make sure nonprofits have the resources they need to train and place service dogs with veterans at no cost to those who have served. This is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is a red, white, and blue issue. It's an American issue. When we ask the men and women to put on their uniform, we promise to take care of them when they come home. That's exactly what the Service Dogs Assisting Veterans Act is about to do. I'm proud to lead this effort with Morgan McGarvey from Kentucky and the rest of my colleagues behind me. And I want to thank everyone for coming out today in support of H.R. 9525 and help us give the veterans what they need. And now I want to recognize my good friend from Kentucky, the other Morgan in Congress, Morgan McGarvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Chairman Luttrell for his incredible leadership on this project, for his incredible leadership every day on behalf of our nation veterans. It's an honor to work with him and to work with all of the groups and all the people you see up here. He mentioned this. But this is right. This is not about right or left. This is about right or wrong. What's right is our veterans are willing to put on a uniform. They are willing to sacrifice literally everything to keep us safe and to keep us free. That does come at a cost, though. That comes at a cost often to physical and mental health, and the visible and invisible wounds of war we are seeing from our veterans, we must treat. What's wrong is that we are not doing enough to help the veterans who've been willing to sacrifice everything to help us. A stat that stuck with me on the Veterans Committee is that veterans are 1.5 times more likely to die by suicide than non-veterans. That is thousands of veterans every year, nearly 20 veterans a day. We have to do everything we can to help them. Yes, that means we're working on the VA and everything there too, but there are other things we know, proven things we know we can do to help our veterans, such as have service animals available. This is a connection, this is a support which it looks cute, it feels good, but it quite literally saves lives. This is really serious stuff, and it is going to save veterans' lives. Not to mention the service dogs who help our veterans who have suffered injuries that have caused them to be blind or to be deaf. This is a really big step forward for all the organizations and for our veterans that they serve. And so I am honored today to co-sponsor this legislation. I really want to thank, again, Chairman Luttrell for his work on this incredible issue, for all the groups you see here, and of course, thank our veterans. Thank our veterans for your service, and know that everyone here in Washington, everyone you see here in Washington is fighting for you. And with that, I want to introduce Representative Pete Stauber to say a few words.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to thank my colleagues for bringing this to the floor and being champions, standing here today in honor of all of our veterans. I had a speech prepared, but I'm just going to talk from the heart. This is so important. The veterans that I serve with, the veterans that I know back home, these service dogs will allow them to live the life that they need to live. As was mentioned earlier, we promised as a nation that when they put that uniform on, that we would take care of them, not only during their service, but after their service. We've asked the men and women in the military to do more in these last 25 years than we have in the history of this country. It's about taking care of our veterans from start to finish. And to the Morgans here, I can't thank you enough for doing this. These service dogs are going to make a difference in the lives of the veterans who served our country with honor and integrity. God bless them all. I want to now introduce Juan Siscamani from Arizona.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and paying attention to this important issue. I want to thank my good friend Morgan Luttrell for his leadership on this, and Morgan McGarvey as well. Thank you both. The Morgans are at it in this one, and it's a really good thing that we're doing this. I've got about 80,000 veterans in my district, and this is one of the issues that I hear about quite a bit. These brave heroes answer the duty's call to go and defend our nation and defend that American dream that we all strive for every single day, and for our kids to be able to have a shot at that as well, is that we have our veterans to thank. And when they come home, we need to make sure that they have everything they need to get back into society, to get back into action here once they hang up that uniform. And service dogs have been a great tool to do that. It's shocking and very sad to hear the statistics on suicide among our veterans, and we know the correlation between their mental well-being and also physical well-being and the service that service dogs provide to this. So I also want to thank all the organizations that are here and their leadership throughout the decades of getting to this point. This funding is going to be essential to make sure that our veterans have all that they need, and that we continue to send a strong message that we support our veterans, that we thank them for their sacrifice, for what they've done, and that we stand with them every step of the way. This is just one of those action items, but I do want to thank our entire Veterans Affairs Committee on this, and all of you for being here today as well. With that, I would like to bring up my good friend, John Rutherford.
Thank you, Juan. Good morning, everyone, and I first want to say thank you to Morgan and Morgan, not the law firm. I have to tell you, this bill is so important because I have seen firsthand that the efforts of this bill work. I've been to Canine for Warriors. They're in my district in St. Johns County, Florida, and we have where Captain Dan Bean is here. He runs that program. I've had veterans in that program tell me, but for my dog, I wouldn't be here today. That's how important this program is. And to understand that since 9/11, we've lost at least 4 times more veterans to suicide than we have to combat. For those battling PTSD and other forms of service-connected traumas, it's personal and it's real. Sadly, really it's taken the VA far too long to realize and to conclude themselves that service dogs are a scientifically proven effort that works. In Congress, we are going to continue to ensure that the VA embraces the use of service dogs for veterans in this critical support. The Pause for Veterans Therapy, which was passed in 2021, it was a great first step forward. We created 5 sites for veterans diagnosed with PTSD to train canines, but it didn't pair them with the members, the service members. And this is an important next step. And that's why passing this Service Dogs Assisting Veterans Act is so important. We have to break down the barriers for veterans receiving this life-saving help. And I want to say this, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the purpose in life is not to be happy, it's to be useful, it's to be compassionate, to be honorable, to have it make some difference that you lived and lived well. And I can tell you, nobody fits that bill better than our veterans here. So we thank all of you. I want to close by saying it's you fought for us. We're going to fight for you here in Congress. We're going to keep up this fight, and we're never going to stop. And let's all live our lives worthy of their sacrifice. And with that, I yield to Nicola Loda from the great state of New York.
Morning, everybody. How we doing? I want to say thanks to the Morgans for their initiative in supporting and sponsoring and introducing this awesome bill to help our nation's veterans. A veteran is somebody who at one time or another during his or her life wrote a blank check to the United States made payable for any amount, including that person's life. And this initiative is priceless. It has a mere tag of $10 million on it. We ought to support it. Helps offset PTS, PTSD, TBI, things that are hurting our veterans today. It's a small investment the Congress and the nation ought to make to help ensure that our veterans can live better. You don't have to do a poll to say that America loves both dogs and veterans, and happy to help this bill join those two. I'll yield to my good friend from the state of Virginia, former Navy helicopter pilot, member of the Veterans Committee in Congress, my friend Jen Kiggins.
Thank you, and gosh, thank you to my colleagues for introduction of this really life-changing, life-saving bill. I have the proud honor of being a co-chair of the Working Dog Caucus here in Congress, so we've done a lot of work to just appreciate and highlight the use of working dogs for law enforcement, for our active duty military, and now for our veterans. As a Navy veteran myself, and also as a nurse practitioner who spent some time working in the VA healthcare system, I know firsthand just those challenges with getting this type of service animal into the hands of veterans and how impactful that can be. And I saw how difficult that was when I was able to practice in healthcare, but also how useful they could be, and what an easy, simple solution to preventing just mental health issues that our veterans continue to struggle with, and these suicides. One is too many. So if we can put, I mean, look at look around, look at the puppies. You know, they're an easy way. What a simple solution. But Congress has to act and put our money where our mouth is, and that's what this bill does. It actually gets that grant funding to the service organizations, to the advocacy groups that are out there. So thank you to people who've joined us today, to those groups who are working hard to make sure that these animals are getting into the hands of veterans. I couldn't be more proud to be standing here with my colleagues to support this great legislation. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, August Pfluger.
Well, I'd like to start by thanking my good friend Congressman Morgan Luttrell for his leadership on this issue, and just I think it goes without saying, but when you look at this bill, this is a critical step to providing disabled veterans with quicker access to what really is life-changing support that only a service dog can offer. And by expanding the availability of service dogs through trusted nonprofits, the SAVES Act rectifies the long wait times that veterans are currently facing right now, and really makes it a lot easier for them to get that help, to get that support. Working alongside Rep. Luttrell on the veterans issues is a pleasure of mine. I recently waved onto a committee, and the way that he cares for veterans, the just wholehearted approach that he has to taking care of real veterans' needs is so necessary. And for a lot of the veterans that are serving in Congress, we know that work comes with a lot of passion. So I'm proud to stand with everyone here to support the SAVES Act and to take this bill into the House. I hope that we can get this through quickly and appreciate being able to support this with Representative Luttrell. Thank you.
And Mr. Dan Bean, CEO of Canines for Warriors.
Thank you, sir.
Captain Dan.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to follow so many Navy veterans and Jacksonville's favorite son, our Congressman John Rutherford. Really thankful for everything you all do up here in Washington. And the SAVES Act is critically important. And on behalf of the over 200 employees and our late founder Sherry Duvall, I'm Daniel Bean. I'm the CEO of Canines for Warriors. We have paired over 1,100 veterans with service dogs in our 14 years. We know that the service dog helps the veteran and return them to their quality of life. Our mission is to end veteran suicide, and one of the ways we do that, and really the major way we do that, is with the service dog. We like to say that we save two lives at both ends of the leash, both the rescue dog, and you see the service dogs around you today, but also the veteran as well. We're here to highlight the life-saving impacts the service dogs have on the veterans struggling from the invisible wounds of war. And this is a critical piece of legislation which will help us and the other veteran service organizations here today continue to do that. The bipartisan legislation will establish a 5-year, $50 million VA-administered grant program, $10 million a year, for eligible nonprofit organizations dedicated to providing service dogs to veterans with various disabilities, including post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, as well as visual and mobility disabilities. The funding is critical as it costs almost $50,000 per dog to train them, to pair them with a veteran. And with thousands of veterans on the wait list, obviously the more funds available, the more lives we all can save. At Canines for Warriors, we know firsthand that service dogs make a difference. Last year, the first National Institute of Health funded clinical study of its kind, led by Dr. Maggie O'Hare at the University of Arizona College of Veterinary Medicine, linked the pairing of service dogs with military veterans, and you won't be surprised at what her findings were, that the service dog lowered the symptoms of PTSD. They increased the diagnosis of PTSD, limited the other mental health symptoms that our veterans suffer from things like PTSD. In short, the service dog works, and that's the clinical evidence we need. Her studies continue, and we look forward to sharing those results with you as in the future. But in summary, our nation must do better to lower the veteran suicide rate. We all know now that the service dog helps to do that. And with this funding and this legislation, it will help the VA to look to alternative means of medication other than prescription medication. It's right here, it's under our nose. The answer is the service dog. Thank you to our Morgans. We're really grateful for your leadership in this. And now I'd like to introduce one of our best ambassadors, and you have multiple ambassadors from all the various service organizations. I encourage you to speak with them, but now I want you to hear from one of our favorite sons, David Crenshaw and Doc. David?
I'd like to make a grand entrance. Thank you, Dan. Thank you and good morning. This is really important to all of us. I'm really short on words because having the leadership, so many of them being veterans themselves, many of the words that I say here would only echo their sentiments and their passion behind this bill. But I could sit here before you and tell you that I'm the embodiment of what it means for a veteran or a service member to come back home and survive their invisible wounds because of the service dog that I have here, Doc. To be able to sit here before anybody and be vulnerable to share my story would be something that I don't think even in my nightmares I could have thought to have. I could just say, as a veteran, having come from gainful employment, both the services and as a first responder, and kind of losing myself and being able to find my pathway again through a service dog is something that I would love for everyone to see the importance. And those veterans who are sitting there hiding or are shameful to come forward to admit what they're experiencing, give that chance for this hope. I like to tell people that because of Doc, my yesterdays are another veteran's tomorrows. And that's something that we really need to stop to think about. These are tools, these are assets. When we go to combat, these gentlemen and women behind us give us the tools and the money we need to fight a war. But no one stops to think about the war that we're fighting inside and the tools that we are needed to have in our toolkit back at home. And these service dogs are exactly what's needed in that toolkit. We want a hand up, not a handout. And all we want to be able to do is gain independence through our dignity, and these service dogs allow that to happen. So with that, I thank you all for your support here today.
And Mr. Miller, CEO of American VetDogs.
Thank you. We want to thank Congressman Luttrell as well as all the support here, including Nick LaLota, who is our hometown congressman. Quite simply, this bill will save lives, right? America's VetDogs works across all 50 states. Here in the D.C. area, we had the opportunity to work with the Pentagon as well as Walter Reed, and we also provided President George H.W. Bush his service dog, Sully. And the demand far outweighs the supply, so I'm glad we're here with our fellow organizations here today to continue to move the needle forward to help veterans. It's a life-saving service, and the dogs are incredible. And I'd like to allow you to hear from one of our great veterans, Harley Brown.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here. really, I'm going to echo the same things that have been said, but the ability to have these animals, to have the opportunity to work with the organizations that provide them to us as veterans and allow us to grow, to become better than what we had become because of whatever issue it was that we were dealing with. Claire's with me all the time. She just makes me happy. So it's a great thing to see that there's a bill that would be able to not only provide service dogs, but it helps to educate other veterans. It helps people understand that you can have something that will help you. So that's really all I got.
Then Miss Naomi Mathis. There we go. Disabled Veterans of America. Sorry.
It's okay. As an Air Force veteran, I thank the Navy too.
Yeah, everybody should join the Air Force.
Thank you to Chairman Luttrell and Ranking Member McGarvey for introducing the Service Dogs Assisting Veterans Act, which is a vital commitment to improving the lives of our nation's veterans. This bill isn't about throwing veterans a bone, but it's about empowering them to battle the invisible wounds of war, like PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and assisting those facing physical challenges from mobility issues or blindness. As many of you know, the therapeutic benefits of service dogs are profound. Veterans who have been prescribed service dogs experience significant improvements in symptoms, severity, and reductions in suicidal ideation, proven by research conducted by the VA. We've also seen how veterans involved in training service dogs experience a powerful sense of purpose with measurable reductions in PTSD symptoms. This legislation ensures equitable access to these life-changing resources by funding reputable nonprofit organizations. It also guarantees that service dogs are provided at no cost to veterans, including long-term veterinary care. Additionally, it supports innovative research into the most effective ways to incorporate service dogs into therapeutic care. In line with our DAV resolution, this bill empowers veterans to live more independently and with dignity. Let's unleash the healing power of service dogs and help veterans reclaim their lives. Thank you.
Come on up here with me, buddy. Closing remarks. You got anything you want to say?
No, good.
Just in closing, what Morgan and I would most likely want to say to our veterans is, we hear you. We're listening. The complexities of cognitive issues, physical issues, when you exit the service, there is this hole. There's this loneliness that exists for some of our veterans. And service dogs, they fill that void. That's that proverbial tool in that toolbox that kind of takes you to a place that you need to be. And it's one step forward from what you see behind us. This shows that we work together, and we can do this, and we have, and we will continue to do so. So God bless each and every one. We're really going to thank the band again for showing up to celebrate this piece of legislation, and just my colleague from Kentucky. Job well done, sir. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. We doing questions? We killed it. All right. Outstanding.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.